If you're looking to skip town last minute for Labor Day weekend, we got you covered. Joining us is the president and founder of Travelmation, Adam Duckworth. What's up, Adam?
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be with you guys. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
So, look, it's going to be like really hot in LA this weekend. And so, like, if I want to get out of town, if we want to get out of town, where can we go for the best price?
Well, here's what I'm telling you. Okay, so you got a little bit of an issue on your hands with the last minute thing. However, we're going to talk through that. But I hear it's going to be over triple digits in LA this weekend. So if I'm in LA and I'm trying to get somewhere, I got two places that I think would be great last minute getaways. Number one of my favorite places on planet Earth is Hawaii, Maui specifically. You're going to pick up about 15 degrees from start to finish there. About 85 over the weekend. I think it's going to be great. The second place that I would recommend. Oh, yes. Come on. It's one of my favorite places on planet Earth. I love it. And then Cabo in Mexico is a great jaunt from LA. And if you've never been to resorts in Cabo, they are spectacular. My favorite one, LeBlanc Los Cabos.
But you can't swim in the water there.
Getaway.
How long in advance do you recommend booking, though, a trip for a long holiday weekend like this? I mean, it's too late for Labor Day, isn't it? How long in advance do you need?
It's not necessarily too late. You could jump in on the last minute. But Tia, that's a great question. So what we always say is the minimum that you can get out in front of something like 6 months, the absolute best. Because after the pandemic has kind of winded down a little bit, what we're seeing is that the inventory at a lot of these properties and in locations is super low. So our best advice is the farther you can get advance of a trip for travel, the absolute better.
But here's the thing for me, and this is what I need your help on desperately, is what's the best way to get the cheap flights?
Oh, Jay, I'm glad you asked. So you can monitor those websites and you can monitor those cheap fare sites all days and you can check. Our best advice is work with a travel advisor because travel agents are still really real. They're out there who are monitoring those things for you. But getting back to that point about being in the future, the very best way is to get out ahead of the flight prices. Because here's the truth. I'll give you a quick story. I have a toddler at home, so I got distracted. About 90 days ago, I was booking a flight to Dallas, and then I forgot. 60 days ago, it was in my mind to do it. And sure enough, I didn't do it. So I booked it just the other day. The sucker doubled in price from start to finish because I waited too long in the process to book it. In this day and age, as we head into 23, get ahead of the travel. If you can, get as far in advance as you can. It's a big deal.
Right. So I heard there's a bunch of travel restrictions about to be lifted. What do you know about this?
Yes, so travel restrictions from the pandemic are kind of being lifted everywhere. And specifically, we've seen Europe has been really hot this summer. Check with your country. Your travel advisor can also monitor that for you based on the restrictions there. But Europe has been so hot because restrictions have been lifted. And also cruise lines for the first time since the pandemic began have really started lifting some of those vaccine mandates. Now, you still have to COVID test. We always want to be as safe as possible before we go on board. But now unvaccinated travelers on a lot of domestic and international cruise lines are going to be welcome to start traveling on board on September 5th. So just a few days away. That is so key for our industry. And so it's an exciting time for those who've been waiting to get out there and to get out of their house.
But once you get out there, how are people dealing with sort of the canceled flight situation? And what's the first thing you should do if your flight gets canceled?
Jay, that's a great question. You know, I'm an expert at this because last fall I spent the night at gate B29 at the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. I spent a week there one night, shall we say. And let me tell you, I slept on my T-shirt, my jacket was covering me, but the first and most important thing is to not panic. We always tend to panic, and when we panic, we make irrational decisions, so don't panic. Flights are like bus routes. There's always going to be more coming around to get you. Here's two pieces of advice. Number one, find an airline representative. If you can be in the airport and you can get to a ticket counter or you can engage with someone, even if it's on the phone, you can have a conversation and get done what you need to get done. Second little tip. If you're a frequent traveler or maybe you've been interested in some of those airline clubs like the Delta Sky Club, maybe the Admirals Club with American, they can rebook you in those clubs. If you go to the desk in those clubs, they can actually help facilitate your rebooking process. The airlines, we know they're overwhelmed, we know they're understaffed, but they are going to try to take care of you to the best of their ability all day long. We have full faith in them.
Well, okay, so summer's wrapping up, so we got to jump on something for the fall. Got any good travel tips for that?
Yeah, I would say that's a wonderful question as well. I love to get a little bit into a cooler climate for the fall. So if I'm going to give any tips for the fall and you haven't been in a cooler climate in a while, head to the Northeast if you can, if you're on the East Coast. Check out New York City. I love to take a trip to New York City and then drive up to Boston and then maybe end in Portland, Maine. What a cool trip to see those leaves changing in the fall. If you're on the West Coast, what a cool time it might be to go to Montana or Utah or Colorado to experience something that you may not be able to experience where you actually live. Lots of exciting things going on as you travel this fall. Get
Thank
out
you so
there and
much.
actually book it far in advance.
I'm doing it. The big takeaway for me, book in advance if and when possible. Thank you so much. For more travel tips, you can go to travelmation.net or follow Adam on Instagram at Adam_Duckworth. Thanks, Adam.